Hey, check out my girlfriend, she's a model, you know? She's way out of your league. Following her husband's words, his partner also chimed in. You have zero charm, girl. I'm more suited to be a wife. I'll take your rich husband from you. Without any shame, and having brought her lover into the house, she hurled cruel words at me. It seems my husband chose to be with her despite the significant social barriers. He spat these parting words at me. I'm divorcing you, the jobless, obese giant of a wife. Stop leeching off me. I never knew when this day would come, but I was somewhat prepared for the imminent divorce. A year after the divorce, I faced an unexpected situation. I was forced to attend my ex-husband and his lover's wedding. Why do I have to witness their happiness? I wondered, but it no longer mattered to me. It was the perfect opportunity to make them regret. My name is Emma. As I turned 27, I was juggling a side job while living the days as a full-time housewife. Lately, or rather for a few years now, I've been reluctant to go out. No wonder, since I now weigh over 200 pounds. I developed a disease at a young age and have been taking medication, which caused this weight gain due to its side effects. Though it's unavoidable because it's a side effect. Still, I manage my daily life thanks to my husband. My husband, Ned, is a top salesman at a major corporation, competent at his job. His annual income is higher than that of his peers. We now live in a high-rise apartment in the city. Our first meeting was a few years ago. I worked at the same company as my husband. We met when I was transferred to the same department as him. Back then, he was a senior who took care of me from scratch. Even when I made mistakes because I was new to the job, he guided me intensively, helping me adapt well to the new department. Day by day, I grew closer to him. It was inevitable that we would fall in love. At that time, I was of average build and seemed to be somewhat popular in the department. Embarrassing if it was a misunderstanding. Ned boasted about dating me to everyone, and indeed, being with Ned, who was a top sales performer, felt like a status symbol to me. At the company, I got along well with the bosses and was the envy of many as Ned's girlfriend, to put it mildly. Ned also seemed to like me a lot, and I remember that time as very happy. Emma. Good morning. You look cute today. He would say, like a line out of a shoujo manga, nonchalantly in front of others, making my days both delightful and embarrassing. However, having not had a glamorous youth, I felt like I had become the protagonist of my own story, which was true at the time. Simple and gullible, but those days weren't so bad in hindsight. Thinking about it now, it was truly like living a dream. Ned cherished me, and I truly loved him from the bottom of my heart. It could be called the golden era of my beautiful, happy life. Yes, it was indeed a golden era when I think about it now. But such days do not last forever in reality. I developed a rather serious illness. The treatment required continuous medication with strong side effects. Naturally, I couldn't continue working, and for a while, I couldn't even manage to go to work. People at work were constantly worried about me, and everyone turned to Ned to understand my situation. I couldn't burden Ned any further, so I decided to break up with him. Ned, I think my illness will progress further. I can't burden you anymore. Ned looked at me with an expressionless face, focusing on one point. Let's break up. I don't want to be a burden to you anymore. I suppressed my feelings and conveyed this to him. However, his eyes met mine directly, and his face turned serious. Indeed, you might have a tough time ahead. But isn't it too hard to go through it alone? Ned continued speaking. I don't want that. I want to be there for you, Emma. Saying this, he hugged me and continued. Let's overcome the hardships together. Marry me. I vividly remember being moved by his heartfelt proposal. I was worried that continuing our relationship would torment him, but eventually, we got married, and I quit my job in what's called a marriage retirement. At that time, I believed in Ned's kindness and held on to hope. But it didn't turn out well in the end. Due to the medication's side effects, I kept gaining weight and eventually reached 200 pounds. After that, Ned's attitude visibly changed. In the beginning, he pretended. Even after I had gained weight, he treated me the same, saying, "You're still cute." But a year later, that facade seemed to have worn off. At 5 feet 2 inches tall and weighing 200 pounds, I was more than just chubby. Given the harsh glances from others, it was evident. In the area where I lived, which was populated by wealthy celebrities, most women frequented spas and gyms to maintain their beauty. For this reason, I stood out in the community. Labeled as the husband who could only choose a fat wife, Ned began to detest me, and eventually, he started monitoring me to keep me out of sight. "Walking with you is embarrassing. Pretend you don't know me, will you? I want to exercise too. You don't allow me to go out, so I can't exercise properly. Just start with a diet then. Don't expose your disgraceful body," he snapped, and he started going out alone more frequently. I was forbidden by him to go outside, and I couldn't exercise properly under those circumstances. Fortunately, my illness was cured, but after gaining weight due to the side effects, my body shape did not return to normal, and I struggled to exercise. Due to my frail constitution from a young age, I couldn't manage diets that involved skipping meals, and he even banned me from exercising outdoors. After much deliberation, I suggested buying indoor exercise equipment to Ned, but he said, "Don't waste my money on such things. You probably won't stick with the diet anyway, right? It'll just take up space, so don't buy it." Even when I said I'd use my own savings, he stubbornly refused. It was perplexing why he would go so far as to forbid it when losing weight would solve everything. Well, it's probably because he thinks it would neglect the household chores. Ned has been extremely lazy since we were dating. The house was always a mess, and he relied on me for cooking and laundry. As a result, I often felt like a mother taking care of a poorly behaved son. That trait is still alive and well today. If I even slightly neglect the housework, the whole house becomes a dump filled with trash. It seems he now sees me only as a housemaid. Well, that's how my attempts at dieting were completely thwarted. I've even started ordering everyday items online, and I eventually stopped going out altogether. His dedication to keeping me indoors was beyond frustrating, it was almost impressive. In desperation, I tried to exercise at home, but when he found out, he scolded me. "Don't dirty the house with your sweat." Ultimately, I never managed to lose weight, and the restrictive control over me only intensified. I thought about divorcing him if he was going to treat me like this, but knowing him, he probably wouldn't go through with it because of what people would say. It feels a bit sorry to think that my presence is pushing him to this, but lately, he seems happy. I thought maybe he had finally accepted me, but whenever our eyes met, his face turned into one of disgust, and he looked like he wanted to say, "Don't look at me." These frustrating days just flew by. But then, on a certain Sunday, a day off from work, I learned why he had been in such a good mood. "I'll be home late today," he said with a single remark and left the house dressed up more than usual. He had been working overtime frequently and often worked on weekends, so he must have gone out to refresh himself. That's what I thought, but he didn't return until the early morning. And when he came back, I could smell women's perfume on him, which told me everything. Tentatively, I asked him, "You came home in the morning. What were you doing? Was at a drinking party with friends? Missed the last train?" He replied cheerfully, making me feel sick. "Then what's that sweet perfume smell?" Apparently displeased by my unhappy look, he clicked his tongue. When I pressed him, annoyed by his attitude, he dismissed me with a single word. "Figure it out, fatty." Something snapped in me then. Figure it out? It sounds like you prefer being with a woman who reeks of sweet perfume over your fat wife? You got it. I never imagined you'd get this fat. It's like marriage fraud. But that's because of the medication. You know that, right? All the memories, trust, and love seemed to collapse then. From that day, he stopped hiding the fact that he had a mistress. The following week, he dressed up and went out again. Going on a date with my girlfriend today. Make sure you clean the house well, he said unabashedly every day. I had grown indifferent and silently saw him off. When I was alone at home, I quickly finished the chores and turned to the computer. After getting through my side job as usual, I killed time watching a romance drama. On the other side of the screen, a beautiful love story unfolded, allowing me to momentarily forget reality. But as time passed, the harsh reality reappeared. When I heard his "I'm home" from the entrance, I had to become the housemaid again. These were indeed gloomy days. However, today was different. Behind the usual annoying voice of Ned, I faintly heard a woman's voice. Wow, it's spacious. As expected of Ned. When I went to check the entrance, there stood a woman in a revealing dress. Who are you?" Without any hesitation, Ned replied. Without any hesitation, Ned replied. "Oh, this is my girlfriend, Jenny." What? My voice leaked out in shock. It was unbelievable to be suddenly introduced to a lover. Despite the situation, Jenny spoke up. Wow, really? This is your wife? A wrestler? That's definitely not it. She rudely stared at my body. All I could do was clench my back teeth. Right? Definitely not. The person who should have been defending me, my husband, followed her words and hurled insults at me. Hey, check out my new girlfriend. Just met her recently, but she's modeling now. She's so much better than you, right? Jenny continued. Ma'am, you have zero charm as a woman, don't you feel embarrassed? I'm definitely better suited for Ned. I'll take your rich husband, so could you disappear quickly? Without any remorse, she spewed cruel words at me. Bringing his mistress to our home, the answer was simple. It seems my husband had decided to divorce me. Overcoming the significant barrier of public opinion, he chose to be with her. Ned spat out his parting words at me. I'm divorcing you, the jobless, obese giant of a wife. Stop leeching off me. I didn't know when this day would come, but I was somewhat prepared for the imminent divorce, so I managed to swallow the situation. Then, as if to provoke me further, Jenny spoke up. Hey, old lady. With that body, it's toxic to my eyes, so could you stay in your room? We have guests, so show some consideration, please. I ended up returning to my room without being able to say anything in return. From the living room, I could hear the flirtatious voices of Ned and Jenny, who was supposed to be my husband. Tears welled up in my eyes as I climbed into bed, trying to hold them back. The next day, Ned hurriedly made me pack my things and I was forced to leave the house, feeling like I was being chased out. It was goodbye to the house I had shared with my husband for several years. I felt a bit lonely, but perhaps because I had spent the day crying, my heart felt a bit lighter. I consider myself good at moving on, but even so, it all felt a bit too easy. After being kicked out, I decided to return to my parents' home for the time being. My parents welcomed me warmly. Later, it was decided that we would officially divorce, and I signed the divorce papers and submitted them to the city office. Once the divorce was finalized and everything was over, I calmed down and thought about it. I felt angry at the terrible treatment I had received and the fact that I had been discarded in the end. However, that worthless ex-husband wasn't even worth taking revenge on. I vowed to become a better person, one that would make him regret leaving me. 1 year later, out of the blue, Ned called me. Hello, it's been a while. What can I do for you? Hey, I'm getting married to Jenny soon. What kind of life are you living now? I bet no one would bother with a fatty like you. He probably wanted to brag about his happiness. His trashy behavior went beyond anger and almost brought me relief. Your unpleasant personality is still intact, I see. We're strangers now, so it doesn't concern me anymore. It was a forced display of indifference, but in reality, we were strangers now, and I genuinely had no interest in his life. While thinking to myself what a daytime drama it was for him to remarry his mistress, I reluctantly listened to him continue. I'm thinking of inviting you to our wedding. I thought I'd show off how happy Jenny and I are. You're coming, right? As if I would attend. I was just letting the conversation flow without much thought, but Ned showed no signs of ending the call. Just come. Jenny's dress is incredibly beautiful. You should definitely see it. It's nothing compared to yours. He kept boasting about his happiness for several minutes. It was becoming irritating. No matter how uninterested I was, he was still my ex-husband. And, after all, he had treated me terribly. Of course, I was angry. Eventually, I gave in to his persistent invitation and agreed to attend. Time passed, and the day of the wedding arrived. Ned was grinning from ear to ear, eagerly awaiting my arrival. Is that fatso really coming? Imagine a 200-pound fatso showing up, the place would buzz. He joked as he waited for the ceremony to start. However, the expected 200-pound woman did not appear. Ned was hoping to see his ex-wife in an embarrassing state, but the woman who appeared was stunningly beautiful. Long time no see. Huh? Long time. Really? Are you a friend of Jenny's from modeling? I addressed my dumbfounded ex-husband. Really, Ned? Can't you remember your own ex-wife's face? It's Emma. Jenny, who had been watching from behind, seemed too shocked to speak. Emma? No, what happened? How did you change so much? Did you get sick? There's no need to be confused. I was fat because of the illness, but I just succeeded in dieting. Yes, I had succeeded in dieting and attained a perfect model figure. After returning to my parents' house, I dedicated myself to dieting. At first, I was stressed by my body not responding as I wanted, but as I gradually saw visible results, my motivation to diet grew even stronger. Originally, my obesity was due to the side effects of medication, so I lost weight faster than usual. Indeed, seeing direct results was fun, and I managed to lose several tens of kilograms in no time. Also, since Ned had forbidden me from going out, I made sure to take extra care of my skin to avoid looking older than my age. Thanks to that, I might say that I became a woman who doesn't look her age. No way. There's no way that 200-pound fat woman could turn into such a beauty. Oh, I'm flattered you think I'm beautiful. But you know, I looked like this when I started dating Ned. Maybe even better now. The woman in a pure white dress screamed hysterically, which was somewhat comical. Ned still tried to insult me in desperation. Seriously, but even if you look good, you're poor since you didn't work while we were separated. I laughed off his words through my nose. What's with that laugh? Like you're mocking me. Say something, Jenny. Ned, apparently annoyed by my demeanor, turned to Jenny for support. But instead of continuing her tirade, she was pale-faced. This person. Ned, finding her reaction odd, asked what was wrong. Ned, don't you know? She's really famous now. Oh, you know about me? Thanks. In fact, I had recently become a highly visible entrepreneur with a multi-million-dollar annual business. My monthly income was no less than $50,000. When did you start doing all this? While I was married to you? It's been a year since we divorced. I think it's been a few years since I started my business. Originally, I had various ventures while calling them side jobs. In today's age of social media, I could launch my own brand with just a laptop. In particular, I focused on my perfume brand, which became popular among young people after I hired a famous model for the advertising campaign. Interestingly, on the day Ned came home late reeking of sweet perfume, I immediately recognized it as the fragrance from my own brand. Moreover, since losing weight, I have also entered the advertising scene as a model myself. Initially, I was nervous, but being hailed as a stunningly beautiful CEO who could hold her own against famous models and becoming well-known on social media felt exhilarating. It seems that Ned, who isn't very savvy about social media or the news, didn't know about me, but Jenny, being a model herself, apparently did. At first, she didn't realize that I was the president of the company. After everything was explained, Ned collapsed to his knees. Damn it. Not only did you become beautiful and slim, but you were also making that much money. If I had known, I wouldn't have divorced you. Jenny, can we call off the wedding? Hearing Ned mutter those words, it seemed Jenny got quite upset. Understandably so. Imagine how infuriating it must be for a woman about to marry, comparing her to his ex-wife and showing disappointment. In a rage, Jenny hurled insults at both Ned and me. Unbelievable. Don't mess with me. And you, don't you dare come out of nowhere now that you've been dumped. Her tone changed completely from before, sounding almost like a child's jealous rant. Your husband is the one who insisted on calling me here today. Why would I beg to come to my ex-husband's wedding? Shut up. Just say no. Weren't you the one who wanted to parade the fat me around? Seems your plans didn't work out. And here I was, bringing a generous wedding gift with me. The attendees seemed quite taken aback by the scene. As I looked around frantically for someone to stop her, a cold voice echoed from afar. Jenny, that's enough. Who are you to tell me what to do right now? I'm really irritated. As the completely out of control Jenny turned around, she was faced with a certain person standing there. Seeing who it was, her face went pale and she froze. Yes, that person was Alyssa, the famous model I had hired for the perfume advertisements. Jenny, you do realize that further insults will only tarnish our agency's name. Jenny was rendered speechless by the icy tone. Alyssa, I mean, there's a reason for this. I was puzzled as to why Alyssa was at this wedding and turned to her. Emma, it's been a while. I suppose you're wondering why I'm at this wedding. She was incredibly perceptive and intelligent. Apparently, Alyssa was a senior at Jenny's modeling agency. She had heard that her junior was getting married and attended the wedding to celebrate. A plausible reason. I had no idea that Jenny's affair with Ned was of this nature. Nor did I imagine she was marrying your ex-husband. Oh, no need to worry about it. I wasn't expecting you to realize. It's totally fine. Still, I deeply apologize for not intervening sooner when you were being attacked. Alyssa apologized deeply. Her responsibility for her junior's misconduct and her display of character impressed me greatly. I assured her that I wasn't bothered and told her to raise her head. Ned and Jenny, who had caused a scene at their own wedding, looked quite awkward. Ned, I'll be leaving now. I was actually looking forward to the reception. Oh, and I put quite a bit more in the envelope than the usual amount. I dressed up just for today, so take a good look. You won't see me like this again. Take care and be happy. Feeling confident and slim, I left the venue with a taste of satisfaction. What a refreshing feeling. I'm so glad I worked hard on my diet. Humming happily, I returned home, but it seems that after I left, the wedding could not proceed as planned and was temporarily called off. Well, it seemed like a natural consequence. Later, Jenny came to apologize at my parents' house. She probably got the address from Ned. However, her apology felt insincere and self-centered. Emma, I apologize for the other day. About the wedding, could you please not tell anyone about what happened? It might damage my modeling career. I'll pay you. I'll have Ned arrange the money. I don't want to be blacklisted in the industry. I wouldn't talk about it anyway. But there were many of your modeling colleagues and industry people at the place, weren't there? Even if I don't say anything, I think your behavior has already spread. Although I had no interest in speaking about it, it was already too late for apologies. One of Jenny's junior models who attended the wedding leaked the incident to a gossip article. Just as expected. It was probably due to jealousy of Jenny's popularity. In the entertainment industry, people are often thrown under the bus, and any small piece of gossip that's grabbed can be exploited. The incident spread quickly online, and ultimately, Jenny was blacklisted in the industry. Moreover, Ned, who had left me and remarried after an affair, was demoted to a regional office after it became known in the company that he had tarnished the company's image by his actions. Since I also used to work at the same company, I told a colleague about my divorce from Ned in confidence, and the story quickly reached HR, resulting in that outcome. Apparently, his salary was significantly reduced, and Jenny, who desired a glamorous lifestyle, did not follow Ned to his new location, and they eventually separated and divorced. At the end of their relationship, she took a considerable amount of money from him, sold their apartment, and now he's living in poverty. As for me, I considered suing Ned and Jenny for damages due to the affair but ultimately decided against it. I am already living a lifestyle akin to that of a celebrity. Currently, my work as a model has increased, and I am more actively involved in multiple activities. Additionally, from my past illness experience, I've started a health and wellness business, and my work is going very well. Looking towards the future, I dream of taking my brand global and influencing even more people. Regarding romance, I've started dating a man I met through work, and I'm receiving lots of love every day and am very happy. We share common hobbies and values, and we support each other's growth and success.